So what is up everyone? Today I'm going to be showing you how you can build a full first email sender in make.com. Now this is going to be a really useful automation if you have a website where you have a form and people need to be responded to immediately. Or even if you don't need it to be immediate, it does help a lot to have that first initial email just so they remember who you are. So first thing you're going to do is you are going to go to automly.pro. If you don't know what this is, it's basically my website. It allows you to build automations in basically just seconds. And then you are going to click on the sign up button, but I already have an account, so let me just log in real quick. Once you are in, you are going to go to the builder and here's what you're going to type. So you should have something that looks like this. Build me an automation where when a webhook receives a form submission, it runs it through ChatGPT to customize an email and then sends it. And then you're just going to click on generate. So not even 10 seconds later, we already have something. So you're just going to download it and then you're going to head over to make.com. So once you are in make.com, you're going to create a new scenario. Then you're going to go here. You're going to click on the import blueprint button. Once you are done, you are going to save it and you are going to have something that looks like this. From here, here's how you're going to set it up. So first you're going to set up the Gmail by creating a Google connection and you're going to delete this for now. So you're going to delete this. And here you're going to put whatever subject you want to put in the email. And for the body, it's okay to leave it empty because I'm personally going to be using ChatGPT. But if you want a sort of like one message for all kind of thing, you're going to delete ChatGPT. You're going to add body content. And in here, you're going to type whatever you want to type. You can also add an image. You can add a signature. You can add attachments and all that stuff. But I'm personally going to go through the more complicated route. So I'll show you how to set up ChatGPT. Creating a connection, which is very easy. You should have something that looks like this. You want to leave it to create a chat completion, but it should already be selected. And then for the model, here's what you're going to do. If your email requires very little sort of personalization, where for example, it just takes their name, their email, and a tiny thing about them and it plugs them, then you can use a cheaper and dumber model. If your email has to kind of like take a whole message in with a whole request and kind of like plug it in a custom way that alters the way the email is going to look, then you're pretty much just going to select a more expensive and obviously smarter model. So you're going to select anything you want here. I'm personally going to select 4.1 system. Just so you know, under 4.1 it starts to get a bit too dumb, and over 4.1 it starts to be overkill. But again, it all depends on what you want to do. So here, you're going to go here, you're going to leave this how it is. And here's what I recommend doing. For the user, you can delete this variable for now. But what I would highly recommend doing is I would recommend you add a sort of email template. So you give it a sort of email template that it can follow through and personalize. So here's what I wrote. I know it sounds very stupid, but I'm going to show you how we're going to turn this into an email. Basically what I wrote is, hello, how are you? We have received your form submission about message. We are already on our way doing some research about company. So their company sounds really interesting from the name because, and then it's supposed to give a reason. So as a prompt, basically what I'm going to tell it is use the template below and personalize it using the variables. The variables can be sentences and multiple words. So plug it in properly and modify it. Your goal is to fill in anything that's a variable or capitalized. I'll show you what this means in a second. With the modified variable inspired message to fill it in properly. After doing this, I'm just going to leave it how it is and then we're going to come back to it later. For the max output tokens, I recommend you put it higher to 248 for this task right here, and then you're going to hit on save. So this is the part where it starts to get a tiny bit complicated. I wanted to create a tutorial that kind of like fits all of you guys to help all of you out, which is why I'm not using a specific website provider over here. Like I'm not using Wix or Shopify or Squarespace or anything like that. I'm using a webhook, but it's going to be the exact same concept and I'll show you how. So I'll come here, I'll choose a webhook. I just put this one. It's completely random, and then I'll copy the address. And just so you know, while the new tab is loading, basically what a webhook is it receives info, but you can also get this from any sort of third-party website provider as long as you find their specific module instead of the webhook. To send some info over and to show you guys what your info would look like roughly. Again, it depends on what your form has as fields, but what I'm going to say is this. I'm going to put the webhook link and I'm going to type question mark name equals Yahya, and then I'm going to write and email. I'm going to write my email. Then I'm going to write company. So I'm going to write and again. Company equals, I'm going to write ABC Solutions. And then I'm going to write and I'm going to write a random message about how I need help with my marketing. And then I am going to run it once here, and then I'm just going to hit enter on the webhook URL. Then I have something that looks like this that says accepted. So now if we go back here, we are going to realize this is normal if it fails to send because we didn't give it an email to send to. But if you go back here, you'll see that the webhook has absorbed the variables. So it now knows what variables it's going to get every single time. Now it has my name, my email, my company, and the message. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to go back to ChatGPT and we're going to plug all those variables in there. So basically I'm going to put hello, name, how are you? We have received your submission. I'm going to delete this and I'm going to put the actual message. And then we are going to delete the company here and put the actual company name, so ABC Solutions, because we're just going to leave it capitalized. And we're going to tell it if anything is plugged in with the wrong grammar, fix it up to basically address it as their problem. Because sometimes it doesn't understand that it's a variable. Sometimes it just sees like the after result of the text plugged in. So you kind of have to add something like this to help it out. And then you are going to also say capitalize any names. This is on top of everything we wrote before. And then you're just going to hit on save. Then you're going to go to Gmail right here. You are going to delete the first body email. So any sort of variable that's black or that's sort of void like that, you're going to delete it. And then we are going to replace it with the actual email. Then here for the subject, it can be whatever. For the body, I'm simply going to add the result ChatGPT gives. So after putting the result ChatGPT gives, here's one more thing you're going to do just to make sure. You're going to go back to ChatGPT and you are going to add, this is the third time you add something, I know, but you're going to add only give back the modified template email as a result. And then you're going to do that to show it that this is the template. And then you are going to hit on save. Now I'll show you what we're going to do. We're going to go here. We're going to run it once again. And then we're basically just going to test. So I'll go here. I'll go here again. And I will just hit enter. So enter. So now I accepted it. If we go back here, we're going to see that all of them worked. And as a result of the email, this is exactly what it sent. It said, so text, hello Yahya, how are you? We have received your form submission about needing help with your marketing efforts. We are already on our way doing some research about ABC Solutions. It sounds really interesting from the name as it suggests a comprehensive approach to solving business challenges. We look forward to learning more about your specific marketing needs and how we can assist you. Best regards, your name, your company. I forgot to put this at the end. Put your signature, because if you don't, it's just going to put something like this, or just tell it to not put a signature. And then if we go here and we check my email, you are going to see that we have indeed received it as a first thing. Now, just one more comment to put here. If you want ChatGPT to be as specific as possible, so as you can see, I changed the ChatGPT prompt many times and I forgot to add the signature at the end. When you're writing your ChatGPT prompt, be as specific as possible with the template, with every single thing you want it to do, because act like it's a child. It doesn't know anything. It can't interpret anything and assume anything about your business. So tell it as many things as you can. And if you don't want to make it too complicated and you just want to send like a one email for all kind of thing, just completely delete the ChatGPT one. After completely deleting the ChatGPT, you're just going to leave the webhook and the Gmail. You're going to go here. You're going to leave the to field. You're going to leave the subject. You can change it to whatever you want to change it to. And then for the body, you're going to change the ChatGPT result to the whole email you want it to send to everyone. Yes, you can still plug in variables. So you can say things like hello name, and then it's actually going to take their name and put it in here. You can't, for example, take their message and interpret it in a single way and play around with it to send a more personalized email. With that, I hope you enjoyed the guide on how you can do this, and I hope it serves you well. Use this automation well, because trust me, it barely costs anything. It costs even less without ChatGPT. And you're losing so much money on the table if you just leave the clients to wait 24 hours for your email. It literally takes 15 minutes to set up and it's going to last forever. And if you want to go try out Automly, just go to automly.pro. It's free. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.